I recently saw the Demon Slayer movie with a bunch of friends, and I wanted to go as Douma, so of course I had to make Douma's fan. So here is how you can easily make Douma's fan. I ended up using a piece of really thick cardboard for this that was 12 by 18 inches long. The top portion was just about 8 inches, the bottom portion was just about 4, and the upper portion that is larger is 2 inches across, and then that lower section is 1 inch across. So I sectioned out one of these on a piece of cardboard, and I wanted to sketch one more just to kind of see how it would fit in place. And this 12 by 18 inch piece ended up giving me 8 different pieces, and then I had a little bit of wiggle room just in case I accidentally made one that was a little small. So what I did was I sectioned out the center, and then I sketched out these sides here. But I found that it was just a little bit easier to at least cut the first one, which is exactly what I'm doing here. Now, because this is really, really, really thick cardboard, I had to score it a couple of times, and then I was able to go and cut it out the remainder of the way. I did bend it back and forth. Be very careful when you're doing this, especially if you are using cardboard. It might actually start to rip a bit. For the first one that I made, I ended up going around the edges of the bottom portion and cutting out with a pair of scissors. I found this to be a lot easier, at least for the first one. But then after I cut it out, I lined it up and I traced it on all sides. And again, I was able to make 8 of these on this 12 by 18 inch piece of cardboard. I did try making this with a smaller piece of wood to start off with, and I kind of realized that I did need something that was going to be just about this size. So 12 inches is really what you should be working with. You shouldn't be working with anything smaller for this prop. It just won't fully and totally look right, and it's pretty hard to at least get that correct size for how the different blades of the fan should look. Now I'm cutting out all of these pieces. Of course, after it's fully through, I'm bending it a little bit. And then after they're all cut out, I found a point that was a little bit towards the bottom, but not too far. I used my blade, twisted it around, and then to clean it up, I used a Dremel to take off some of that extra bit of cardboard that kind of just popped up at the sides. Then at the top of each of these, I made these 2 small holes, which were small enough to get a needle through, but not big enough that they would easily rip. Then I cleaned them up with the blade. After I had all 8 pieces, I went and I spray painted it. Cardboard, in my experience, dries pretty fast. You just don't want to oversaturate it, so make sure you're going in layer by layer, not just really spraying it on there thick. Then I took this metal piece here, one of those ring binder pieces where you could probably just pick one of these up at the dollar store right now, stuck that in the center, and I spread each of these little pieces of the fan out. Now for looping it, what I did was I went under the first hole that I created for each of these fans. And I probably honestly didn't have to make 2 holes for each and every one of these, but I didn't know which one was going to sit on the top, which one was going to sit on the bottom, and this was my first time making a prop like this. So what you can see is I'm threading this through and I'm going under each of those holes, pulling it through, and after I got to the end of all of those, then I spread them out and separated it to see where the string was going to sit. And I'm separating this just so you can't see the other hole that I created. Flipped that over, made sure it was spread enough, and then glued that down with some hot glue, and cut off the remainder of the string and did this on both sides. Then for each and every one of these little pieces, I took some hot glue, used the back end of a pair of scissors, spread it out, made sure it was in place, sketched out my design, and then it was good to go after that. I also did replace the metal ring with a piece of string too. You'll see that a little bit later on. I do suggest that you probably do that too. The metal ring is just going to hold it in place when you assemble it. Now this prop is really easy to make. I think it took me only about an hour and a half to fully and totally make this, which in comparison to some of the other things I've made is pretty crazy. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next one. Bye!